I'm obviously behind on recording my podcast episodes this weekend because I've been trying to find subject areas that I can talk about during those episodes that won't just immediately send me into a blind rage, largely due to the stupidity and gullibility of Trump supporters that we're coexisting with in this country right now. They're getting worse. They're getting worse. So there's that. But it's like they, relative to Hurricane Helene that hit the southeast last weekend, Florida, Georgia, western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, these people, the MAGA cheds, they absolutely hate Joe Biden and they hate Kamala Harris, but they demand to know why Joe Biden and Kamala Harris aren't in eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina. They absolutely think that climate change is a hoax, but they believe that Democrats control the weather. And they believe that Democrats directed Hurricane Helene to go where it did because there are lithium mines. I'm not making that up. In western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee. I'm not making that up. They believe that. These same people absolutely hate the government. They hate socialism, but they demand to know where's FEMA and why isn't FEMA doing more? FEMA needs to be doing more. FEMA is the government. It's literally the government that they hate. Kamala Harris decided that these Republican families that were affected by the storm, they only get $750, and that's a one-time payment. They don't get anything more than that. That's not what the legislation says. Congress has the power of the purse. That's in the Constitution that you guys all seem to, constantly remind us that you've memorized, but apparently not. Congress has the power of the purse, not the president, certainly not the vice president. They're saying that Kamala took $1 billion. Trump said that Kamala took $1 billion from FEMA and gave it to undocumented immigrants who are here, which never happened. Even though Donald Trump killed the bipartisan Republican wish list of an immigration bill a few months ago that would have solved pretty much everything that he is now complaining about the southern border. And they're going back and forth between, Kamala can only give $750 to Americans because she took over $1 billion from FEMA and gave it to undocumented immigrants and sent $8 billion to Ukraine, even though all of those funding bills for Ukraine, the aid bills, were bipartisan, overwhelmingly bipartisan. We're not sending them money in large part. We're sending them old equipment that we have, and the money that we're actually spending, we're spending at defense contractors in their manufacturing facilities here in the United States where they employ Americans, and we're buying new equipment to replace the old equipment that we're sending to Ukraine, which we've used around 5% of our defense budget to completely cripple Russia's military without the loss of a single United States member of the military. But, whatever. I heard one MAGA chud on TikTok today. He was just asking questions. He was just asking questions, as they do. And he was like, isn't it curious that you never hear about hurricanes in Russia? And then Donald Trump was lying that the Georgia governor couldn't get a hold of Joe Biden, even though the Georgia governor gave a press conference where he personally thanked Joe Biden for all the help that he has given to Georgia after they had multiple extensive conversations. Donald Trump said that there is an anti-Republican bias among FEMA as it relates to Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina. Donald Trump, for some reason, made up that Kamala Harris has ordered that no helicopters can be used in any rescue missions in red states. Lie. Uh, Now, this storm, the three of the states that this storm hit hard: Florida, Georgia, North Carolina. This time around, Georgia and North Carolina are swing states. Arguably, Florida is pretty close to being a swing state. So why is Donald Trump saying all of these lies about states that he has to win in a month from now? Hurricane Helene hit especially hard in heavily Republican areas of Georgia and North Carolina, a fact that could work to Donald Trump's disadvantage in those two swing states in November. Research has shown that major disasters can influence both voter turnout and voter preference. State records show that nearly 40,000 absentee ballots were mailed to voters in the 25 North Carolina counties that were declared a disaster following Helene. Fewer than 1,000 of those ballots have been returned. Donald Trump won North Carolina by about 1%.